Hello again, and welcome to another episode. Tonight on the table we have Falcon Accuracy Plus in 0.22. These are an NSP product. So what does that actually mean there? Because some people may not actually know this, but NSP Engineering are the company that own Air Arms, or Air Arms is a division of NSP products, is probably the best way to put it, because they may not actually own them. And Air Arms subcontract the manufacturing of pellets to JSB. So that's what this ultimately means here. So these are quality assured NSP engineering products. So okay, well, I don't know exactly if that makes them any better or any worse, but we'll find out as we go. Well, I do know, but let's wait and see. We get 500 of these pellets in a tin. As you can see there, they're representative as an aerodome, although that looks more like a VMX, which would be slightly worrying. You can't probably see this, but I'll give you a close-up in a second. They're, as we said, 2.2 in a 13.43 grain, so these are quite a light pellet, in my opinion. You can get lighter, don't get me wrong, but I always sort of associate 16 grain as being the sort of the middle point, or the 15.5 to 16 grain as the average for a 0.22 pellet, you know. Design of the tin, as you can see there, it's quite I think these are quite a bland sort of tin, to be honest with you. I would just gloss over these and just think, well, they've tried to sell me something, but you know, I'm not that impressed by it. As you can see there, that was the price I paid for them, $9.99. The average head diameter is supposed to be 5.52, so we'll know that. Made in Czech Republic, dead giveaway of what it is. You know, a JSB manufactured pellet. The fact that it's in a typical sort of JSB pop tin as well. So as you can see there, you'll be able to see now, you can see the 13.43 grain. So these actually fly very, very flat, in my opinion. Certainly in the Remington they fly super flat in comparison to other sort of things. So inside the tin we get a makeup pad. You know, it's actually quite a thick makeup pad, that one, and we also get one in the bottom, which sort of hints that these might be quite a soft leaded pellet, but you know, they are quite clean pellet. You know, there's not much debris in the bottom of there. Anything else? The seam lines on them are not too bad, so you know, where we get a split line, you probably make out, I don't know if my finger's probably in the way of that one, but if you can get a look at that one there, you can see it's got a seam line on it, this one here. So yeah, as you can see, I've used quite a few of these. In the Remington, they're really, really good. Out to about 50 yards, past 45 yards, it's a bit hit or miss, to be honest, but yeah, I quite like these. But again, you know, it'd be nice to see these in a screw-on lid, as with any pellet, but you know, prices dictate, you know, what we can. So let's have a quick look at the actual stats. As you can see here, just jotted everything down so it's nice and clear for you. My comments on these is they're a short stubby aerodome, similar size to sort of H&N, nothing too far off. They were good in the RM8 to 25 yards, and they're good in the AR1 to about 45 yards, so much so that I quite happily use these as a field target pellet, or HFT, when I'm out in the woods at Cosford. 2.73 radius head, you know, so pretty much the industry standard for 2.2, that very similar to the H&N. Interestingly though, it's got this intersection, it's this flat spot here on this band. You'll be able to see it when we zoom in, which is why I say, you know, this isn't a very good representation of the pellet, because it doesn't actually have, let's try and get the camera to focus, that wasted band in there. If you see how different that actually looks, I don't know why they do that. Is it just to give you an idea that it's that type of pellet? Or, you know, if you're going to do a CAD model of this anyway, so why not just stick it on the tin? Anyway, that's me rant over with, right, because I'm getting emotional about it. They've got this band here, which I've never seen on a pellet before, which, well, I have seen them before. If you think of the H&N sort of sniper pellets that they use, rabbit sniper or whatever, but it comes a lot further back and has a very small shuttlecock. If I ever get a tour of NSP Engineering or the JSB or Air Arms factory, then maybe I'll ask the question on why that is, but I very much doubt that that'll ever happen. As you can see internally, very much like the H&N again, it's got the traffic cone style head in it, which gives it a sort of a more forward, well, less forward balance and a more sort of even balance, if you know what I mean. So rather than be head heavy and then have a nice big flat piece of lead here and all of this being complete lead rather than having the cone nudged out of it, these are actually cast into that position by the looks of it. They don't look like they're like the H&N machined in this section at all, but we'll go and have a look in a bit more detail. So here we have, let's see if we can get this to refocus. There we go. So there you go. There you can see a close-up of the inside of the pellet there. Like I said, traffic cone style. Not quite sure what that'll do accuracy wise going forward. There you can actually see sort of the band, you know, just in this section there. Very interesting that. Not quite sure what the effects are going to be. You know, you get quite a nice ped. It is quite dull, and I do think they're quite soft, but the deformation on them, I mean, they are proper. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, there's nothing changed in the way that I fire these into the blue tack, but yeah, they are proper sconed up them. They are incredibly flat. If you can see just how much difference in size they've compacted. If I can maybe just get in there and show you, look there. Oh yeah, great. But yeah, you can sort of see how much I mean, they're massively flattened, you know. So what have I written about them? I'll keep the targets out of the way for in a bit. Just get this back onto the tripod. I think I'm gonna have to maybe hold it. Nope, got it there. So cost wise, this is what we get. So we'll go cost, quality, and then delivery as we usually do. So cost wise, as usual, Utton's up there, you know, one of the first searches that we do. Maybe I'm gonna have to start discounting some of their, you know, prices, because they're in every single one. Airgun Buy came up, which I think is Blackpool air rifles, at, you know, 5p cheaper on target. The one I bought, as you've seen, £9.99, which gives you a mean cost of £9.98. So not as cheap as what the H&Ns were, but not a million miles from it either, and certainly a lot cheaper than what I paid for a tin of Air Arms Diablos recently. Quality is what you can see, 32 sample study as usual. Spread, let's quickly go through them. So the total height, the spread of dimensions was 0.3, 0.03, sorry, 0.03 again for the head bore, 0.13 for the skirt length, so that's where the most of the variation is, and quite a lot of variation actually on the actual weight. So because everything's fairly tight across dimensionally, only the physical mass of it is different, I'd expect these to sort of, you know, group high and low. Maybe even just get, you know, a couple of old flyers. I mean, they're not fairly consistent all the way down, to be honest with you. They really do jump about. Just having a look there, see if I can spot any that group together. Maybe get 5 or 6 and then 2 or 3 out. But they're quite wide. This skirt length, you know, but we'll see anyway as we go into the target. So once we add all the spreads together, we get a quality score of 0.57. The mean height though is 6.79, so about 6.8 mil. Our head bore is 5.51 average, so they're saying 5.52 average, I think, on the back, weren't they? What were they saying? So yes, on the back 5.52. So yeah, okay, close enough. Maybe if I'd have studied a different sample, it might have come out like that, but still fairly close. Skirt length, you know, 3.18. Again, I don't know what effect that has on the actual pellet, but hopefully in time we'll see. And then the weight itself is 13.5 grains, so they're quoting 13.43, so 0.07 of a grain heavier on my sample that I took from the tin. Delivery, as you can see there, it was, it's an elephant in the room, we might as well shoot it. So the first group came out at 13mm, the second group came out at 11.5mm, the third group at 16mm. I also shot a fourth group which came out at 18. So let's look at that now. As usual, the old on target sort of 5-shot sheet. This is the last time you'll see this because there wasn't any there, and I don't know if he's going to print any more, but let's just have a quick look anyway. So here we are leading in 10mm centre to centre, 8 shots though, so it could have been a case that maybe 2 of them might have flown high, and that's what I'm saying about on that weight that we were discussing a bit longer than I would normally discuss, being maybe that's why we get the odd flyer and we group them together, because when you look at the rest of them, you just get the odd one. Now again, this is pre-charged rifle, so it ain't kicking and throwing itself around like a Springer, which means that it's probably me that's done it. The tables are quite empty on this day. It's just literally, you'll see the pellet just lifts up, or it doesn't seem to want to come down. It just stays high every now and again. And the same with the second group, 16mm group, centre to centre. So there's the base, there's the top one, and just 2 pellets flying high again. That's absolutely killed it from being an exceptionally tight group. The second group that was shot, they've split off in 2. So one of them's come left to centre. I'd say one of them, probably about 6 of them came left to centre, and maybe 3 or 4 of them have stayed, dead true. So interesting though, when I shot the 2 deformation pellets, they landed straight on top of each other. The accuracy was that good. I didn't think I was going to get much out of it, but still, grouping wise, they're the tightest that we've done so far by 0.5mm, and that 0.5mm has just made all the difference, as you can see there. So where does that take it on the older sheet? Just keep an eye on them just in case they fall on the floor. Well, there's the scores. Again, it scores 3 right the way across the board, same to where the H&N do. So let's quickly run through it as I normally do. You've got £5 to £10, so it's 2 pence, it scores it a 3, and then you've got your quantity 200 to 500, so it scores it a 3 there. They get multiplied together, and then we multiply those by this score here. So it was, it was slightly higher, wasn't it? It was 0.58, so it was 0.01 of a millimeter on the spread, on the quality, so slightly better. But the delivery, it was 0.5mm undersized from the H&M, which puts it, in the 10 to 15 grade. So it scores a 3 again, which brings out 81. But as we've always said, it's delivery that we're interested in, and they do group, even though they're a bit erratic. They do group 0.5mm tighter than what the H&Ns do, which just put them into the top spot by literally an absolute hair. So, hope you find this review useful. As always, feel free to comment, don't troll, stay safe, shoot straight. Thanks for watching, goodbye.